Hello there, this is James Crafty Joes 1978, and last night, having kidnapped my girlfriend Teresa and threatened to sacrifice her to the seven-headed golden giraffe, the false god worshipped by that blasphemous heathen Milan Jefnik 1992, my good friend Alex, all babies are rapists, sent me a ransom note demanding that if I ever wanted to see her alive again, then I would watch the new film adaptation of Les Miserables, directed by Tom Hooper, which was released in UK cinemas on Friday, otherwise known as Wolverine vs. Gladiator, the musical. As always, there are other links for all listed down as the underbar. I ask everyone to please watch Alex's excellent review of this movie and subscribe to Alex and Milan's channels. And having now watched the full film for myself, my opinion is a resounding because in spite of everything that I'm going to say in this video, and you know that it's not going to be positive, it's better than fine. It's adequately satisfactory, and I highly recommend it to anyone who isn't me. If I were forced to sum up my review of this adaptation of Les Miserables, and indeed all otherwise great musicals, in 8 words, and I am, because Alex is still holding my goldfish hostage, they would be too much of both, not enough of either. Because in the end, my biggest problem with the entire concept of musicals is that both great music and great acting express emotions which cannot easily be put into words. A magnificent song, painting, or movie directed by Kim Ki-duk or Stanley Kubrick all express things which, as a writer, I would find almost impossible to describe without pointing to real life or other works of art and saying the reaction that you have when you see this. However, great acting and great music each express emotion on their own. So, like adding garnish and decorations to a cocktail, if done properly and subtly, adding musical numbers to a movie or a play is a wonderful twist that enhances the whole experience. But in most cases, though, it is at best a niggling distraction, and at worst a massive fruit bowl in your glass, which makes it impossible for you to get to the drink that you ordered in the first place. As a result then, as Alex stated in his own review, links down to the underbar, the director cast great screen actors who cannot really sing. So while in some cases, such as in the heartbreaking performance of I Dreamed a Dream, with the fact that Fontaine is expressing her genuine emotions and in too much pain, too busy crying to sing well, adding a great deal, we are usually left in the awkward situation of seeing the cast attempting to express everything that they need to express through their body language and facial expressions, because after all, they are screen actors, whilst simultaneously expressing it through song and not doing a particularly good job. As I say, too much of both, not enough of either. Indeed, Alex himself agrees that some of the songs should have been cut from this movie entirely. In my less than humble opinion, Master of the House is a grotesque distraction that spits in the face of the tragedy and noble sacrifice throughout the rest of the film. The entire experience of actors singing ordinary dialogue that would have been better delivered if it was simply spoken still makes me cringe, and for the love of the great holy donkey, perhaps my biggest bugbear of all with regards to the music is that you don't have to spend 5 otter-fondling minutes explaining the situation through song. Yes, Valjean, if you turn yourself in, then everyone who depends on you will suffer, and if you don't, then you will have to endure the unbearable guilt of knowing that an innocent man was condemned to a life of slavery in your place. We already know. And if you simply expressed your selflessness and indecision through acting, you could have spared us all 5 minutes. But ironically though, while the film itself is 2.5 hours long, the whole thing is still too mother-buggeringly short. The original novel, Les Miserables, is an epic in 5 volumes. Fontaine's story alone, which takes up the first volume, is longer than an average novel, and yet the entire story just zips past with no time to genuinely relish or savour the agony, the suffering, the hope, the sacrifice, or the love. Eponine gets friend-zoned so severely that the guy may as well have stabbed her with a dagger. She disguises herself as a man and joins the revolution. She sacrifices herself, saving a boy who ends up getting shot anyway, and she dies in the arms of the man who she loves. That's it, move on, go on to the next part of the story. Don't get me wrong, I was weeping like a little girl when Eponine died, because everything that I said at the end of my video, the most profound and inspiring vocalists on YouTube, about needing to hear Saskia's music before I die, is expressed magnificently in that scene. Again, the links are listed down as the underbar, and I ask everyone to please subscribe to Saskia's channel. I think everyone agrees that Eponine should have lived happily ever after with the man who she loved instead of Cosette. Then again, that is the nature of tragedy. However, the point still remains that when all is said and done, the movie is little more than selected highlights of the musical and the novel. Still good, no doubt about it, but a taster at best. If only the studio had given Hooper the opportunity to direct 5 full-length movies, each one covering a single volume of the original novel, adapting the story directly from the book, so that while the great musical numbers such as Look Down and I Dreamed a Dream would still be there, they would have been an added treat instead of covering a birthday cake with ice cream, then this would have possibly been the greatest feat in cinema history. But instead, while The Hobbit is split into 3 full-length movies, Les Miserables has been crammed into 1. Where's the logic in that, Spock? Where's the goddamn logic in that?